Hello, everybody. Welcome to Elite Weather Forecast. My name is Mr. G. Hope you guys had a great weekend. As we are about to wrap up the weekend, tomorrow is Monday, and this is going to be your weather forecast. Our city of today is going to be Venice Beach, California. We got a live cam right now out there, and whatever's going on with the camera, the guy keeps moving it around. But damn, it's a beautiful day in LA today. Man, I wish I was in Cali today. Look at beautiful, nice, clear skies out there. Temperatures in the upper 70s right now. Venice Beach, beautiful. Man, I grew up out there, and I remember going to Venice Beach and stuff on the weekend and playing basketball. I used to play basketball over at Venice Beach. I'm telling you, a lot of famous people came from Venice, and it's an awesome place to hang out, get some good food, street food, and different things like that. There's street performers, always some crazy, and there's crazy people too. So it's always a lot of activity. But look at that, a beautiful day out there in Southern California today. Nice warm sunshine, great temperatures. People look like they are out there having a great time. All right, way to go, LA. So we got a hurricane to talk about in the Gulf of Mexico. We also got one out over the Atlantic that will be affecting Bermuda as we move through this upcoming week. So we're going to talk about that. And we got to be losing some of that heat and humidity across the east and the south. So let's move on with the rest of the forecast and say goodbye to beautiful, sunny Southern California. All right, so now it's time to talk about the rest of the weather forecast across America. And on our first map, we're going to be taking a look at across the tropical Gulf of Mexico and the Western Caribbean. What we have our first tropical system here to talk about here, and this is going to be Idalia, and this will be our tropical storm down here over the southern Gulf of Mexico. Cancun, Mexico is right there. Our tropical system is right here. Still looking a little bit disorganized, a little bit. Still a little bit of wind shear coming from the west to east out here, so we're getting most of our convection down along the south and the eastern side of our area of low pressure. But we do have a nice low level circulation there, and our system will move into the central and northern areas of the Gulf of Mexico, where there is a lot more favorable environment and really warm water temperatures near 100 degrees, as well as a lot less wind shear. So we will see a rapid intensification as this thing gets out into this region and a little bit closer to Florida. So that is something that we're going to be monitoring as we get into like Tuesday. Here is our forecast track for Idalia, for our tropical storm, with our 40-mile-per-hour winds at the center of circulation right here. And it's going to make its way toward the north and the northeast, but eventually it's going to become a Category 1 hurricane as we move into Tuesday. We can see our first hurricane of the Atlantic hurricane season, and we're going to be seeing those winds get up to 100 miles per hour as we get into Wednesday before making landfall west of Tampa and between Tallahassee, right here along the Florida Panhandle there. So probably Clearwater, I think, will be in the direct path of this tropical storm or hurricane. So it is forecast to be at least a Category 1 hurricane before moving over Georgia, South Carolina on Wednesday and Thursday, and then out back over the Atlantic on Thursday and Friday. Check this out. This is going to be this out here. This is Hurricane Franklin, and Franklin is going to be affecting Bermuda. So we're going to have Franklin and Idalia out over the Atlantic at the same time, and will be fairly close to one another as well. So one will be on one side of Bermuda and the other on the west side of Bermuda. So Bermuda is going to be right in the crosshairs of these two hurricanes there. So this is going to be interesting to see how this variable plays out over to when we get to the middle of the upcoming week and Thursday and Friday. So we could be talking about a tropical storm and Hurricane Franklin out there. So on our next map, here is our forecast model consensus over the next 5 days and the track for Hurricane Tropical Storm Idalia. And as it's going to be making its way, all the models pretty much agree that we will see that northerly track to the north and northeast across the Florida Panhandle and over the southeastern U.S. and then back out over the open Atlantic. And then here is our ocean heat content. This is our latent heat in the ocean. This is very warm water temperatures as we're seeing those water temperatures very hot here and in the 80s and 90s. There is some periods of areas where the water temperatures are about 100 degrees over the Caribbean. So we are looking at very favorable water temperatures for tropical development as we head on through this upcoming week. Here is our rain forecast from Monday through Thursday. A lot of rainfall is going to be anticipated across the state of Florida, even when the storm is well to the south. We have a lot of moisture in the area around, and those outer feeder bands into our tropical system extend all the way into Florida, even right now, ahead, while the storm system is way down by southern Mexico. It's still several hundred miles away, but we're still going to be affected by heavy rain associated with the tropical systems. So we're going to still see up to 3 inches of rain here along the Florida coast. So Tampa, Fort Myers, Naples, St. Petersburg, all the way up to Tallahassee. We can see as much as 3 or more inches, 3 to 5 inches of rain are going to remain possible out ahead from our tropical storm. And then we're going to be seeing, this is our forecast for Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. Our Idalia, our flood threat for Idalia. Here is our hurricane right here, just off the coast of Tampa. There is Destin, Florida, Tallahassee right here. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that rain. And with that being said, in this direction, that we're going to see a storm surge here across parts of Florida. So Tampa up here to Perry, Florida, we can see our storm surge come on shore because we have that nice southwesterly, that rotation on this side of the area of low pressure, and that's going to be causing that water to rush toward the mainland, toward the Florida peninsula here. So we're going to see that onshore push because of that rotation around this center of this area of low pressure. Our hurricane center is right here. The eye of the hurricane will be right there. And on this side, we got a nice southwesterly inflow into the storm. So we're going to be seeing storm surge as well as a lot of heavy rain along the Florida peninsula as well. As more, want to see more rain north towards Tampa and this side than we will on this side of the storm. So as our storm, let's go back. So as our storm moves ahead in the future, by Thursday, we'll be looking at a tropical storm. It would have dissipated once it made landfall over Florida and moved across Georgia and into South Carolina. We're going to see dealing with a tropical storm or maybe a tropical depression, depending on the forward progression of our storm system. We have a low pressure to the north, a front to the north and west, and that could help accelerate the forward movement of our tropical system here. So Idalia might get a little bit of a push to move along quickly. And then by Thursday, we're going to be seeing our tropical storm / tropical depression possibly right here near Myrtle Beach in Charleston, South Carolina, before eventually making its way back out over the ocean, just south of Cape Hatteras. I don't think it's going to intensify too much once it get back out over the water, but it will race off to the northeast, and it will have to interact with Franklin out near Bermuda as well. So a little bit of tropical activity to contend with, or a lot of tropical activity to contend with across the southeastern United States. So a lot of rain. So this is the forecast for Friday. This is where Idalia is expected to be out off back out over the Atlantic, our tropical storm, and there is Cape Hatteras right there. So it will move to the south and east of Cape Hatteras as it makes its way back out to sea. And here is our flood outlook for Tuesday morning through Wednesday morning. We have a better chance of flooding right here across the west coast of Florida and the south beaches of Florida here, Tallahassee, Destin, Mobile, Alabama, Gainesville, Florida, Tampa, Fort Myers is where we have a possible chance of flooding possible with heavy rain and a storm surge from our hurricane as it makes landfall across Florida on Wednesday. That flood threat spreads through the southeast on Wednesday through Thursday, but this is going to be mainly because of heavy rainfall. We will be below hurricane status, so tropical storm. We will see an onshore push, so increased surf, maybe a weaker, smaller storm surge along the southeastern United States here. So Charleston, Savannah, Mobile. What's the other sounds that's really popular for vacationing in South Carolina? Myrtle Beach. So Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, North Carolina. You might see an increase in surf and swells because of the southeastern the inflow into the storm, but we will see mostly flooding due to heavy rain, more so than interaction with the ocean. All right, so here is our rainfall forecast for the through Thursday across the southeastern U.S. And we're going to be seeing that potential there for as much as 5 to 8 inches of rain here off the coast of Florida, near Pensacola, Apalachicola, 3 to 5 inches, Tampa, 2 to 3 inches. This actually, I think, is pretty conservative. Honestly, I think we could get more. The models are picking 2 to 3 inches, 3 to 5 inches here over North Carolina and South Carolina. So several inches of rainfall, so a lot of beneficial rain. Now this area is actually a little bit behind schedule on forecast rainfall for this year as well. We've been in somewhat drier, semi-drought conditions. So beneficial rainfall actually would be very good. But we don't really want the problems that tropical storms bring. But some beneficial rainfall might come a little bit too fast and too heavy. So we want that water to be able to soak it. Now there's a lot of swamp down in here and a lot of marshlands down across the southern U.S. along I-10, I-75 here, I-95. There's a lot of wetlands. So it won't take much to raise those water levels and get some flooding there in some of those lowland rivers and those river deltas, especially like at the mouth of the Mississippi River Delta. Now, fortunately, most of the rainfall will be to the east of the Mississippi River Delta, so that's some good news. So we don't need the Florida flooding issues, but we'll pick up about a half inch to an inch of rain over New Orleans and southern Louisiana as well. Here is our changing weather forecast for this week. This is what we've been seeing. It's that big ridge of high pressure anchored way up above the northern plains and has had an expansive influence from the east to the south and to the west. We're going to start to see that ridge break down. That ridge will slide to the west, back. It will retrograde to the west. This trough will drop down, and that cooler air will push all the way into the deep south. I mean, that cooler air will drop down past the into the Gulf of Mexico. So tomorrow we're going to see the front drop all the way down to the Gulf Coast. I-10 is right along this route right here. So we will see that front parallel with I-10 and I-12. So that's some good news for you across the south. Finally, a little bit cooler. Definitely a little bit less humidity as well, so it will become a little bit breathable down along the south in the Gulf Coast over the next several days. Excuse me, I'm still recovering from the flu. And so, but that will be some tremendous news for you guys. Look at that. It finally crosses into the Gulf of Mexico and southern Texas. We really start to see That front dropped down. Now that's going to bring some showers and thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast, but we'll take some rainfall and cooler temperatures as opposed to 110 degree dew points, 110 degree heat indexes, and things like that, and ridiculous amounts of heat. But we'll take that on Tuesday as that front really drops down, and we really start to see that cooler air, and maybe some temperatures drop below average for this time of the year. This indicates that those temperatures will get cool enough to drop slightly below average. So that is really nice. So less humid for this early coming week across the east and the south. So tremendous news there. Beautiful, beautiful weather is on tap for this week across the eastern U.S. But I do have to remind everybody that once these front passes, now this will also have an impact on our tropical systems off over the Atlantic and the one over the Gulf of Mexico. Idalia and Franklin will be influenced by this frontal boundary, and this frontal boundary will help to direct Idalia across northeastern Florida and the extreme southeastern U.S., South Carolina, Georgia, and North Carolina, and back out over the Atlantic. It's going to go back out over the water because of this front directing the steering currents out there. So that will keep other folks from being under the influence of that tropical storm. I'm going to step off the camera so we can take a look at those temperatures that we're going to be seeing across the east, in the southeast. And finally, beautiful temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Look at those 70s across the north. Chicago highs, beautiful in the early coming week here for Monday, Tuesday, and through Wednesday. We're going to see those temperatures even in the 70s for some of you folks across Cleveland. Look at that. So very improving weather conditions as we head through this coming week and get to the midweek point. We'll see those temperatures drop into the 90s and 80s across, even some 70s. Look at those 70s in Atlanta on Wednesday, 78 degrees. So that frontal passage is definitely going to make a positive impact on the weather across the South, where you guys has had, like the last 2 months have been unbearable heat and humidity. Finally, a break in it, so enjoy it while it lasts, because the heat will return as we move into early September, but I don't think it's going to be as fierce as it was the last couple of months. So that is a look at the weather as far as those. Here is our long range, our August 31st through September 4th. This is the Climate Prediction Center overall. It's going. Now you see this right here. Now I'm gonna step right here so we can talk about this. Now next week we can see this. This is that warmth that's going to return. That above average heat and humidity is going to push back into the central plains through from Minnesota, the North and South Dakota, down to Texas, down to the Mexican border, back over the Gulf Coast again. That's going to spread back to the east as we move through time and get into the second week of September. So again, that heat is going to return on the backside of our low pressure center here. So we're going to see the heat and humidity build back in across the central United States. Here is, I'm going to step off again so we can talk about this map here. This is our weather forecast across the country, our graphical forecast that we expect in the morning when you go to work and go to school tomorrow. We're going to see showers and thunderstorms down across the eastern United States as we deal with moisture coming up from the tropics. And we have our frontal boundary there across the southeast. And it's going to be bringing those showers and storms through the mid-Atlantic states in the morning. We have our low pressure and our frontal boundary here. And our front extends across the southeastern U.S. and along the Gulf Coast and near South Texas. So along this front, we're going to see scattered showers and thunderstorms through the mid-Atlantic. So for Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, parts of Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, showers and storms tomorrow morning, and some showers and storms here over West Texas and through parts of the Rockies, and the desert Southwest from our summer monsoons. The summer monsoons are still taking place, so let us not forget that as well. And in our midday tomorrow, so tomorrow afternoon, when the kids are getting out of school or getting on the bus, or you're getting on the bus coming home from work, or making your afternoon commute home, those showers and storms will still be ongoing here across the. It's going to be a very wet week across the Mid-Atlantic. So Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida going to be a very wet week this week with the combination of our cold front. We have our Hurricane Franklin out there, and we're going to have Hurricane Idalia down here over off the coast of Florida. So with all of these three entities, we're going to see a lot of rain across the southeast United States this week. So a very wet week on tap, but nice and dry for the rest of the country, with the exception of some showers and storms here. Eastern Colorado, New Mexico, southern Arizona, the monsoon moisture is still in play there. So we're going to see those monsoon thunderstorms across the Rockies and our frontal boundary there across the southeast. That's going to be helping to bring in that cooler air, making those temperatures much more bearable. But we have our tropical situations down across the state of Florida. Now, Monday night, we have a lot of showers and thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast, as we have our frontal boundary that's going to begin to wash out, but we will see an area of low pressure across the southeast there that's going to lead to some showers and storms from the New Orleans across into Atlanta. We can see some showers and storms in Nashville, Tennessee, Charlotte as well, and even toward the DC area, we might see some showers and thunderstorms because of these areas of low pressure. And then we have our tropical influence as well down here off of the southern Gulf of Mexico, where we will be dealing with Idalia, bringing up its moisture and winds into Florida later this week. That is your weather forecast. My name is Mr. G. Thank you for watching me today. Leave your likes, comments, and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the movement that I'm starting to see on YouTube. It's a very difficult platform to master and anything like that. So I appreciate the increase in the comments in the comment section and the likes and everything. So let's get those views up and this channel up to where I can compete with some of the other folks out there. So thanks for watching. Leave like, comment, concern. See you guys all tomorrow. Bye.